Hello, everyone. Let's see. This is not going. There we go. All right, everyone. Thank you for another episode of Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. Tonight is going to be pretty cool. We have a couple of authors on. One may look familiar, and you'll get to know another one. But today, if you all remember Leon Walker, he's come on several times. And when you see his face, you'll recognize him. But we have another special guest. But today we're going to talk about how you can go through childhood struggles, but you can also have courage with it. So before we get into that, let's get into this.
For the queen, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and booty walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kiss goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti, black girl magic, melanin popping, whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, dog.
And we are back. So yes, my name is Ursula B, and I'm just a black girl trying to get my shift together. So if you're listening on the replay, please type replay in the comment section. If this is an audio, make sure and give your girl a 5-star review. If you're watching live on YouTube or not live, make sure you share this live, like, comment. And if you have questions for Leon and Bill, just put them in the chat. So I'm going to start with Leon. I'm going to get him out of the waiting room. Hey, Leon.
What's up, Ursula? How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for coming on again.
Hey, thanks for having me. You know how we do.
Exactly. Leon, he is a fan favorite. I always get a lot of DMs about you. I don't know if they even get back. I'm sure you get a lot of DMs.
Yeah, I get a lot. I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't keep up. I cannot keep up. I tried, but I can't. I cannot keep up. I can't. I'm telling you. Because I got Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok.
That's a lot. And people will contact me and I send them over to you. I'm like, I'm not his publicist, but thank you for listening. But
right.
I just send them right towards you. So we're going to have another guest. I'm going to get Bill and get him out of the waiting room. There we go. How you doing, Bill?
I am well. And yourself?
I am well. So we're going to get right into it. For those who may or may not recognize Leon, he's been maybe 3 or 4 times already as a guest. He has a lot of knowledge about narcissism because he's gone through it. But the good thing about, and what I love having him on, is that he talks about, he's very transparent and vulnerable about what he's gone through and going through. Because when I say going through, because we all are growing. So this is the beautiful part. He's a black man getting his shift together. That's what it is.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So tell me about you and Bill. Bill, how did you all meet each other?
Hey, Ursula, I'll tell you one quick story. He'll tell you the rest.
Okay.
Well, so I've been knowing Bill for 50 years. But see, what's sad about that is that some of his friends don't even believe I've been knowing him for 50 years. It's 50, Ursula. It's straight up. I'm 58. He's 57. Numbers don't lie. So anyway, I'll tell this one story that I've never told. And then he can chime in. Me and him, I don't know what he did at home, but I came by his house and we went to the store, the candy store.
Right.
And it's called Gus. So we just
come on, man. You can't tell that story. You can't tell that story.
I want to hear it. Anyone listen?
Hey, look, I'll let him tell it, Ursula. He'll tell it.
If
Uh-uh.
anyone
Uh-uh.
wants to hear the story, put a 1 in the chat. Okay, go ahead.
You tell it.
So you know, back in the day when other parents, when they whipping on their kids, they can whip on us too, right? So I don't know what Bill did, but we at the store chilling. We having a good time, and the sun is coming down. It's dusk. We thinking about leaving anytime soon. And I'm on my little bike, and all of a sudden, I don't know. We didn't see his. I didn't see his mother walk up. All of a sudden, she was like there, like in his grill. And I'm like, so I'm backing up. I got on my bike. I was like maybe 10, 11. I got on my bike, and she started getting on him. And then she looked at me, and I was like, I'm out. So I got on my bike. I was gone. But the story, I tell a story because Bill has always been tough as a kid. And the way his mom was whipping on him, I ain't want none of that smoke. So I left my boy that day. I left. I was gone.
You just left him?
Yeah. And look, Ursula, when back then, if parents whip on anybody, I was like, his mother looked at me after she whipped on him. I had my little bag of candy. I was gone.
That's hilarious.
So me and his mother became very, very close. And over the years, that's another story how I met his mother before I met him though.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So Bill,
that was not hilarious. That was terrible.
Hey, look,
imagine getting teased for 40 years. Him and another guy, Mike Tucker, they would bring that story up. 40 years, never forgot it. That's terrible.
Hey, I got on my bike, Ursula. I'm like, nah, I ain't, because she could have got on me too. We was at the store, but it was getting too late, and we should have been home. She came up there and got him, and that was it. That was it. So yeah, I got plenty of stories, but we can go ahead with him.
That's funny. Okay, so before we get started on the book, Bill, can you tell me a early childhood story about Leon?
He was very fast, and he talked fast, and now he eats fast. So everything he do is fast. So I can see why he was a narcissist. He just breezed through life, and we couldn't catch him. He was tough, low center of gravity, and maybe that's why they call him Double O. I don't know, but everything about him was fast.
Really?
Yeah, he ain't lying about that. And then we played football together. That helped me out, that speed.
And they called him what? Double what?
Double O.
I don't know why. Why do they call you Double O?
My mother gave me that name because I was thick with 2 chins. So I'm going back to that now. I'm getting thick again. But he's right. I was thick as a kid, and I had muscles. And so she called me, I had 2 chins when I was born. So she called me Double O. And it's stuck. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So how did this book, like what made you want to write a book about this childhood story?
So what happened was, for some reason, Ursula, he it's funny to him, but I remember everything about him. Like when his mother whooped on him. I remember that. Bill has severe asthma. He's had it all of his life. So he made me take some of his albuterol as a kid. And I was wheezing and choking. He laughed. We done all kind of crazy stuff. I don't know if he remembers that, but he had a little machine, and he used to turn it on in his bedroom in the kitchen, and it make a little. And I was like, oh, that's cool. He said, you want to try it? And I was like, yeah. I didn't know it was albuterol. I didn't know it was for wheezing, but so I remember all of these stories about him, Ursula. So one day in 2017, I told him, I said, man, you always inspire me. He's like, yeah, right. He didn't believe me. So that night, a few days went by. I was in Cleveland. We was at a bar, laughing, joking, talking about people, joking on people. And I drove back to Chicago. And then he had went home, and he texted me a picture of he and I. We were probably 11 and 10 at the YMCA, and I was looking at him getting his first trophy. This picture had not been seen since 1976, 77, somewhere in there. But he kept it with him the whole time. And so when he's like, the picture has me looking at him get his first trophy. And I was like in awe. So it's in the book. He found a picture. He's always had it. And I was like in awe because he was doing all these sports with one arm, with his left arm.
Okay.
And so he's one of those first kids in our group that got the MVP at the YMCA.
Really?
Yeah, and he was always taller. He's 6'5" now, but he's always taller than everybody. But he had use of one arm. We always just saw him with two arms. And then people nowadays like, why are you writing a book about Bill? He ain't nothing wrong. I was like, man, dude, remember he's got the one left arm. Like, oh, because we just didn't see him as handicapped at all. And so I remember all these stories when I met him, when I met his mom, when I started playing basketball with him. When I started playing, he taught me how to play tennis. He don't remember. He taught me how to play tennis. When I played football, I had to be on his team because he threw the ball so doggone hard. I wanted to catch it, but I wanted to be better and stronger. But he was knocking kids down with the ball. And so I was always around him. Yeah, I was always around him. Then I couldn't play on his baseball team. Guess what? Because I got cut. He made a baseball team, and I got cut. Yeah, so I was like, man, all these stories I remember about him. So I interviewed his mom in 2017, 2018, and she told me, so we saw Bill as Bill. We never knew what happened to his arm because there was no need to ask, yo, man, what? Because he showed up to play sports, and it was like, oh, man, that's not fair to Bill. Then it came to where it's, oh, man, it's not fair that you got Bill on your team. So it's always, yeah. So we playing basketball, if Bill was on our team, we can only have 4 people because it's like he's like 2 kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah, all the stuff I remember, Ursula. And then when I told him I admired him, and then I interviewed his mother, and I got the gist of the story of where it started, where his injury occurred.
So let me jump in there.
Sure.
I think we have not done our audience any justice, and it's just the way that my life went. We kind of fast forwarded to my glory without knowing my story. People see me now as a polished, tall individual, speak well, successful. But just like we got on this podcast tonight and there was all this energy and laughter, we're talking about our friendship in 50 years.
Yeah.
We really just glossed over the fact that I was born a medical miracle baby. So there's statistics out there that says if you're a large baby, you're about 8 pounds. That's considered a large baby, all vaginal natural birth. Mm-hmm. When you start moving into 9 pounds, those are extremely high risk babies. When you start talking about 10 pounds, you're talking about the likelihood you're going to have a C-section, or you're going to have some upper extremity issues, or you're not going to survive. So that's at 10 pounds. I weighed a whopping 13 pounds and 1 ounce. Yeah. Poor mother.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Hey, Ursula, this story is crazy. I'm telling you. It is.
Wait.
We skipped from 10 pounds to 11 to 12 to 13. But what it makes it so miraculous, it was all natural birth. That's where the word malfeasance come in. A lot of people know what malpractice is when a doctor just makes a mistake. But when you willingly, which gets deep into the story, know that I should have had a C-section, but because my mom was poor and on welfare, and I think it might have been $200 to get a C-section in 1966, they yanked me out purposefully. Poor mother.
It gets worse.
Hold on 1 second, because maybe y'all know in the chat. What does malfeasance mean again?
So malfeasance is a different level of malpractice. Malfeasance is with intent. Really? So you knew as a doctor and a staff what you were doing. And it gets worse, like he said. Not only is it the medical miracle, 13 pounds, but you threw my arm back in the socket, my right shoulder, because you really don't have bones and things like that. And you sent me home because I was a dark-skinned child and didn't even tell my mother or father what you did.
Hold on. So your mother, just for clarification, your mother had natural. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Leon.
No, you good. He'll get to it. He skipped something, but he'll get to it. You good.
My head is spinning right now.
It gets worse, Ursula.
Your mother gave birth to you, natural childbirth. You were 13
pounds. Don't forget the 1 ounce. It was the largest baby for 33 years. We know for a fact in Ohio. And as I searched back records, 12.6 pounds, even though that was C-section was considered a large baby. So I was larger than that, and it was all natural.
Oh
Yeah,
my. Did your
it
mom
was
live
terrible.
through? Oh yeah, because you just said that he got.
Great question. No,
So
ask him. Ask him.
so part of what made the story the story, she flatlined twice during 16 hours of labor. Not
What?
once, twice. My heart stopped. I flatlined. So when you start talking about just wanting 5 years later to be picked to play sports, I had survived something so insurmountable just to get born. And so that's where your courage, that's where your struggle all wrapped up in one comes. I have a world-renowned doctor named Dr. Seitz, and this is later on in the book, who has uh, operated on thousands of folks, upper extremities, and he always tells me, he's operated on me like 4 times. Bill, I've never seen an attitude for somebody that's come through so much at such a young age.
Oh my
And so, yeah, that was kind of defining. So for all of those mothers out there, to special needs kids, hats off to you guys. And I do got to tell this joke. I know we got an adult crowd, but I do got to tell this joke. It is the funniest joke ever. My mom told me probably when I was like 30, we're sitting up, right to passion. She feel like she could talk to me as an adult. We talking about the birds and the bees. She said, boy, do you know you ripped me from the rooter to the tutor when I was coming out?
Yeah, he
She
did.
paused. She paused and then she said, your daddy ain't called me back ever since.
Oh my God. 13 pounds? I can.
Right.
But
So,
Ursula, he skipped over something. Look, when you say 13 pounds, 13.1 pounds and 26 inches, when I was interviewing his mother, and she said, you know what? She looked up. I'll never forget this. I was in her kitchen, 2018, out in Cleveland. She looked up. She said, you know what? It still bothers me to this day. And she started crying, right? And I was like, yeah. And I said, what? Yeah, this is in 2017. So he was 50, right? 7 years. No, I'm sorry. It's 7 years ago, right? At 50 years old, she said something that still bothers her. She said, do you know that they folded my baby over to deliver him?
wait, what?
So yeah, he was talking about his clavicle and his shoulder being dislocated and stuff. They pulled it out of socket, I think. We got to talk about that, Bill. But they broke his clavicle, I think it was, and they folded him. So when they delivered him like that, he was still so wide that she was paralyzed. And he mentioned that Dr. Seitz said, young men with attitudes like him, the doctor told his mother, and I got this from his mother, that when they broke his shoulder, I always use the word break, dislocated, crushed his clavicle, he didn't cry. And the doctor said, oh, you got a strong little baby there. He didn't cry when I folded him over. He told her that. Yeah. The doctor told his mother that. And so she said, I don't want to talk no more about this. My nickname is Double O. She said, I don't want to talk right now. Let's take a break. So we took a break. We drank some coffee. We ate some spaghetti. And I was probably at her house for like 5 hours. He didn't even know this. And we got back to talking again. And she said, yeah, they folded my son over. Folded him. Yeah. To deliver him. Yeah, he couldn't come out. So she was paralyzed for, I think, 5 days after the delivery. And he was wrapped up in a blanket. Like he said, he's a dark-skinned baby, so you couldn't see the bruises on his arm from the nerve damage. And then they put him in an incubator. And while he had severe asthma, so he was struggling with the severe asthma, with a broken clavicle, with dislocated shoulder, and was still folded in the blanket like this.
Oh my God. Hold on. So I've got to go back to the clavicle part. Did they purposely dislocate it to get you out, or it just happened on taking you out?
So it's like telling a lie, which none of us has done. You know, when you tell a lie, you have to tell another one. You have to keep covering it up.
Yeah.
You know, to some of the young kids out there, when you go down that wrong path, unfortunately, even to get back on the right path, you don't just jump on the right path. You got to come back through that bad path you went through. And that's what the doctors did. So intentionally covered it up, intentionally folded me over, intentionally threw it back in the socket, intentionally wrapped me up, intentionally sent me home. And it took, which is in the book, for my dad, and it's funny, I did the same thing with my son because I want him to be left-handed. I'm handing him food in bottles to his left side. I'm favoring it. Well, they did that to me, and I never could lift my right hand. And this is at 3-4 months. And so they knew something was wrong then, came back, confronted the doctors who still lied, and it just was a snowballing effect. For those that watch John Q, like I said, John Q, I could sit up and either come to tears with Denzel or actually feel as if I inspired someone on down the line to have the same conviction as Denzel did the dad and the mom. I'll never forget that scene. She said, do something. Everybody remember that?
Yeah.
That was me 57 years ago, just trying to survive. And a mother, which I love her to this day, rest in heaven, who was just basically saying, y'all did this to my child. This is what makes Black women strong today. This is what makes Black women get their shift together, because they are some of the most powerful creatures on this earth, and they can birth 13-pound babies and live to tell about it.
So did they send your mom home right away as well after they?
Yeah. So his mother, we were so close that she confided in me, right, with a lot of stuff when I interviewed her. Just imagine this: a little baby folded over, arm crushed, clavicle crushed, with extreme asthma, and with no type of medicine, no shots, they didn't give him a brace for his arm.
I cannot.
Yeah, so
I'm getting angry listening to this.
Yeah, but to check this out, Ursula, for months he was at home in pain. He couldn't tell his parents that he was in pain because he couldn't talk. But his father saw, like he said, his father was giving him the bottle in his right hand, and his arm fell down. He's like, Gloria, you see what happened? And so they noticed it months later. He was at home he'll show it to you, his arm. He was at home like that as a baby, with nobody doing anything for him.
Wait, let me
And you notice in the book he talks about he didn't allow himself to feel sorry for himself. So then you start seeing in the book later in life how he's like doing everything, and I'm like, well, if he doing it, I got to do it. That's how I was. That's how I got my motivation from. Like, I ain't gonna let him outdo me, but I was either always on his team, or if I was against him, I was like, man, I don't want to play against this dude because he was just so strong. I don't even think he knew how strong he was because he suffered in silence for years. And then when they tried to tell his mom his arm was supposed to be amputated over and over and over and over and over and over again. They were going to amputate. His mother said, nope. This is what she told me. She said, nope, you're going to read about my son one day. And here we are, 57 years later.
Wow. Hold on one second. Leon, because your camera is freezing in and out, if you go out and come back in again like we did last time,
okay,
that'll reset it. That should do it. So Bill, is there nerve damage? Like, what was it? Was dislocated, then put it back in.
So the official diagnosis, or what happened, it's called a brachial plexy with nerve damage. So absolutely, the clavicle was shattered. It stopped growing, as you can see. This side, I had the arm of a pro athlete. I mean, it was super huge. I'm getting older now, so it's shrinking. But my right arm never stopped growing past 8 or 9 years old.
Really?
The fingers, they called it withered. We did a nerve transplant. I don't know exactly when that was, maybe at 4 years old. And that was just to give the thumb and the fingers some mobility. Since that time, I want to say about 6 years ago, I have about $300,000 worth of steel in my arm. There's a chapter in the book called The Boy with the Steel Arm. And what's crazy is no matter how confident you get, no matter how courageous you are, no matter how at peace you are, I'm a Bible-believing Christian man, you always do two things. You always say, why me? And then if there's a chance to improve it cosmetically, You do. So just to take you guys all the way back, you don't know my story till you know my glory, or you don't know my glory till you know my story. There's a lot of days crying in the room at night. Why me? God, why is my arm short? Why do the kids tease me? Why does my mom not let me go outside and play and be like normal kids? Well, there's a silver lining to that. Every parent on here does not want to hear the word burden. As they get older, no parent, yes, they'll come live with you, but they don't want you giving them baths. But that's the evolution. That's the circle of life. So
Right.
here it is. My mom had to deal with the doctors lying to her, telling her that she was diabetic. Hence, you had a big baby. Hence, it's your fault. We're taking the malfeasance and malpractice off us, and we're putting it on you. So imagine my mom.
Wow.
Yeah, imagine my mom. And this didn't last long. This was God's gift with my tenaciousness. Imagine every morning her worried, I'm sending my baby off to school. Is he getting picked on? Can he function? Can he get himself dressed? Well, that only happened for about 5 years, ladies and gentlemen, because I made a decision that I just wanted to be like everybody else.
Mm.
Then, when I could be like everybody else, I wanted to be better than everybody else. And that's where the drive and tenaciousness came in. It went from my mom telling me to sit on the porch and be careful to literally coming out in the street with a belt saying, stop hurting those kids. And I wasn't doing it deliberate. I just had that drive, determination, like you said. I wanted to throw faster than everybody. I wanted to run. I wanted to hit harder. And I became a proficient athlete through a lot of hard work. But here's again the silver lining. Now my mom used to come to my games with a beacon of pride. There is no more burden. My son is out there doing it. I ain't got to worry
Yeah.
about coddling my baby. My baby is the homecoming king. My baby's the starting quarterback. My baby's on national TV doing this. So that was my gift to my mom at an early age for all you special needs parents, that she didn't have to carry that burden, right? Jesus Christ said after 33 years, y'all don't have to carry that burden no more. I got it. And so that's what I'd like to think that my mom is in heaven most proud of, that I decided to break those chains. I decided to
Wow.
break those astigmatisms that now you have to be a handicap or you have to do this. You have to stay over your lane. My lane was every lane. Every lane that I saw, I went in. And whether that turned into being conceited, overconfident, it didn't matter. All I cared was that I didn't want my mom looking at me like it was her fault. And it was like the Bible says, job well done, my son. So she only had to deal with that for the first 5 years. After that, it was, that is my boy. That's my child. And so to all you parents out there, let your kid fall as many times as he can. Let him scratch his knee up. Let him get picked on. Let him go through everything that he has to go through so that you can finally see what is it that's going to come out on the other side, which hence, if I can, you can. The man who thinks they can. You never know what you can do until you actually put yourself in to do it. So I just want to get that off my chest.
Wow. That is amazing. So, before we go any further, I'm going to read a couple of the comments. You all are getting a lot of love in the comments. If you all have any questions for Bill or Leon, drop them in the chat, okay? So, let me read this. Hi, Diamond Ingredient. I like that name, Diamond Ingredients. She or they said, "Wow, you are such a success. May you continue to be highly favored. God bless you, Leon and Ursula. You're amazing as well. Love to you all." That's beautiful. Wow. Thank you, Diamond.
Thank you, Diamond. And that name itself, Diamond, that means you've been through something. A diamond cannot shine until it's went through a process of pressure and dirt and then getting shaved and cut and all that. So diamond itself is a perfect example of going through something to get to something. So thank you, Diamond.
Yes. Empress I am said, "I'm impressed with this story. I am glad you are here with this phenomenal testimony, Mr. Aden. Thank you for sharing the good news of our Creator's goodness. Thank you to the host and Mr. Walker."
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, hey, it's crazy, Ursula, because I remember everything about his little childhood. It can't. It just. And we laugh about it. I'm like, man, you don't remember this? Like, oh yeah, no, not that, yeah. So it was just something that was supposed to happen, you know. And the more we think about it, the more we talk about. I interviewed a doctor that worked on his right arm, Mr.
Hold
William.
on. Now I got questions for this. Hold on. You interviewed the doctor.
Yeah. So
How did you even get that? Because go ahead.
so what happened was one day, because I always call, me and him talk 3-4 times a day. And I called him one day. I was like, yo, man, you think your doctor talked to me? He's like, I got you. It's never like, no, nah, man, why? It's like, I got you. Within a few days, I was driving to Cleveland, going to Cleveland Clinic, got in, and his doctor is so cool that we sat in there for about like 2 hours. While he had patients coming in and out, people in therapy over here, needing this, needing that. And he sat down and talked to me and Bill, and they said, hey, I got something for you. So he sent me the x-rays of his hand, and they're in the book. So I teased Bill. There's one thing about Bill was never a bully, but he could fight. And people, yeah, I'm telling you, some people found out the hard way. They had to find out, because it's a whole other story that how I met his mother before I met him. We'll get into that, but I always tease him. I said, look, so when we're at his doctor's office, I'm looking at these x-rays. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like you said, $300,000 worth of hardware. So I said, if you ever punch me and if you don't knock me out, I know your hand is done. Because those screws, those plates, that contour band, all that stuff, you hit me. If you don't knock me out, dude, I got you, buddy, because I know it's in your I know it's in his hand. I know it's in both of his hands. So the doctor's so cool. He gave me the x-rays. He explained to me the screws, the plates, the contour plate. I was like, and I didn't know that he had. I just see his arms. It just looks like you just see flesh, but it's metal and screws and plates and contour plates and over here. And
even in your fingers. If you mind me asking, do you mind me asking, like where?
Oh, go ahead. I'm an open book. Go ahead.
Yeah. So are there rods in your fingers and in the palm, or how is it?
So I started to talk about staring into the ceiling. Why me? And then I also mentioned a while back about everybody, whether it's a man or woman, if there's something come along that you feel can enhance you or give you more function, you try it. So as strong-willed as I was, and as comfortable as I was living 40 years of my life the way my hand was, there was an opportunity that came up that I started discussing cosmetic. Now, what the heck do I need with cosmetic surgery on my hand when everybody knows what it looked like? I can't hide it. I can't put it in my pocket. But yes, I don't want to call it a conviction. You go through your life, you say, I don't like this big toe, I want to chop it off, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. And so I went through a 10-hour procedure where they fused my wrist, because before it would just dangle. And they thought that they could do some things to give me more of a pinch. And so, yes, they put a rod in my pointer finger. They put another rod in my middle finger. They put like 20, 50, 15 rods throughout the base of my hand. And this is sad. I'm going to say this, but I haven't shared it with anyone. I went through 10-hour surgery. It got infected. I was in the hospital on the 4th of July. I came home. They thought that they were going to have to take everything back out, which was another 5 hours, another 10 in. We dodged that bullet. I finally came home, and I'm living by myself. My son's living in Columbus, I think. I did that strategically. And do you know, to this day, and I'm going to say this, I wish I would have left it alone, because I can do less with it now than when I was before, because I had to do it. So before, I could tie my shoes, and it was like my friends would stand around and just joke and tease, like, how is this guy tying his shoes with one hand faster than I could tie mine? To this day now, I have to pre-tie my shoes. I'm not ashamed to say it, but I guess the moral of the story, I'm saying sometimes God's miracles, you just leave them the way that they are. Because right now, my hand right now, I probably can do 35%. The right hand, I still can grasp stuff. I still can put cups on it, but I can't tie my shoes as fast as I could 10 years ago.
Really?
That's something to really have to deal with, to say I messed it up more than what it was. But you know what? It's part of the story now. And so although I might have taken 2 steps back, how many young adults, how many kids, how many parents maybe I'm helping tonight or moving in the future to say, leave the miracle alone. Whatever hand God dealt with you, that's the hand that you're supposed to have. Quit tinkering with it. And you know, we can go on and on about all these movie stars with Botox and messing up their face, and there's no return from that. So I'm cool.
Do you have feeling in your hand?
Oh, don't say that, because I play as a fraternity, and the running joke, we'd fall asleep and they put matches in between my hand and light them. Oh, I mean, you know, fraternity guys, and Double O's the same. He's done some horrible stuff to my hand too. But to answer your question, yeah, guys will come up and pinch me or run a knife across it. Did you feel that? Yeah, I felt that.
Hey, Ursa,
So yeah,
we didn't know. When I was probably 11, I used to grab his arm and be like, because it was cold. And I'm like, dude, your arm's cold. He like, and for the rest of my life, I'd be like, every time I come and clean, I grab his hand, I touch it. And I'm just like, I don't know how you do it. How he lived his life with that arm. It's like, we was always amazed. So he knew, it became like, all right, just don't hit him. You know what I'm saying? He could take the jokes and stuff, because he gonna joke with you too. But the moment you put your hands on him, it's a different story. But I used to always grab his arm and stuff and be like, I would touch it, like, it just, I don't know. And it felt, this is a whole different story, but it felt like steel. It did.
It felt like what?
Steel. So there's a chapter in the book called The Boy with the Steel Arm. I wrote it about him because another friend of ours teased him, and he may have hit him, and it didn't go well for the other kid. And so the kid came running down to my porch, and I saw him running down the street, and I came off the porch and like, what happened? Because he wasn't bleeding, but he was bruised.
Right.
It's a boy down the street with a steel arm. And so I believed him. I'm like, yeah, he said that. And the young man is still alive today. And so I said, I'm gonna go down there. And I was trying to take up for him, right? So I go down to Bill's house. They had a prefabricated house, the only one on the street. So I knocked on the door, and his mom said, yeah, he's in the back. So I was going there to fight Bill. And his mom said, yo, he's in the back. You won't, that's what she said. She said, you won't miss him. He's tall and loud and aggressive. And I was like, oh, shoot, I may not want to meet this dude. So I go in the backyard, and he like, yeah, chump. He's the first kid that I heard call another kid a chump. I'm like, this dude's like a grown man. So he's clapping. I've seen it in slow motion. Yeah, chump, who's next? They were playing basketball. And I was like, that just changed my whole look. I'm like, nah, I ain't fighting him. That ain't gonna go down today. So I ran back home, and my friend was on the porch like, did you see him? Did you beat him up? I was like, man, he wasn't even home. I was like, all
right. That's crazy. So I have 2 questions. Well, I have a million questions. Bill, one question is, how long were you? Because you said you're 6'5"?
Yeah.
Damn, that's tall.
I think, Dubs, you said I was 26 inches when I came out?
He was 26 inches. Almost 2 feet. Well, 2 feet, 2 feet and 2 inches, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
26 inches. He did. Hey, look, Ursula, when I was telling his mother the story, this was she was. Look, me and his mother was talking. She's like, you know what? She's like, I'm feeling that pain now because he rammed her ribs inside. So his nickname is, nobody knows this. They'll find out, but Little Billy Goat, because he rammed and rammed and rammed.
Wait. So, okay. Almost 2 feet. That is wild.
2 feet, 26 inches.
So, how long did she carry you for, like 19 months? Like what?
So he flipped around. He kept flipping. Go ahead, Bill.
Full term. So I was truly a love child. My dad was born March 12th. And my mom, again, I don't know what made her start feeling like she wanted to tell me all her little dark secrets. She was like, yeah, you know, you got here because you was your birthday gift to your daddy on his birthday. I'm like, Ma, I don't want to hear that. But
Oh
sure
my
enough,
God.
9 months later, on my birthday, I guess that's when it went down. And I was born December 18th. So it was literally almost 9 months to the day.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what about, do you have siblings?
Actually, two brothers. I have to get this right, and four sisters. So from my mom, there was five of us: Darren, Karen, Steve, and Glenda. But from my dad, Jeanette and Rosalind, who lives in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and they're actually going to be up here for the book event. So I can't wait to see them. But yeah, we were five kids in one house, two bathrooms with a single mom. My dad didn't live in the house, but he was probably the best dad in the world. I had a dad in my family, and my dad, which is part of the book, was get this, guys, he was part of the 99th Squadron Tuskegee Airmen. And what's significant about that, we didn't really hear about Tuskegee Airmen until about 10 years later, 10 years ago, the Red Tails, whatever. But my dad was with the first initial group ever, and he never even told me that. So there's a lot of things that was shielded from me,
Wow.
yeah, as American heroes. So proud of my dad. And I didn't find out until the funeral. I'm looking around and all these men are standing up with bomber jackets and goggles. I'm like, well, what the heck is going on? And that's when I found out that my dad was truly an American hero. I take nothing away from those that came after, but there's always something unique and authentic about the very first. He was the mechanic. He wasn't the pilots, but that's just like saying the team that won the championship that the coach don't matter. Yeah, the coaches and the players.
Exactly.
So he was the mechanic. He would have been 102 years old this March. I know he's looking down again. He was another prideful person. Always worked his way up. He was one of the only African Americans off 105, right after the 105 riots, to own his own business. Black folks didn't own their own business. They might have had a piece of land. They might have been a straw boss, but he had his own delicatessen off Elk Avenue, and that was years and years ago. So yeah, there's a lot of firsts in
Wow.
my life that people hear about it. Absolutely.
Wow. Leon said this book was good. I mean,
It's a lot. If you
you were
ask,
not joking about it at all. Were your
yeah,
siblings large like you?
So one of the reasons that they tricked my mom, my sister Karen, who was born just 2 years before me, she was 10 pounds. So they tried to use that and say, your history, you just had a 10 pounder. You should have known this, that, and the other. But no one expected a 13 pound. The rest of my siblings, they weren't big. And one of the things that they always say, they might be listening, I made it easy for them. Yes, they had to look out for me and watch me, but I was the black sheep of the family. I was the one that got in the most trouble. You know, my mom would leave and go to Ford Motors, and you thinking, here's a kid that has a disability. You got to watch him. And no, I was the one that was kind of leading the pack and playing every day and making the teams and coming home late. And so then all my older sister had to do was come wipe me. That's me and her joke for the last 40 years. Other than that, get out of the way. I'm gonna do my own clothes. I'm gonna wash. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And so, again, one's courage and one's testimony actually can permeate and spread to help others out, even your own brothers and sisters. Because again, the one thing that I wanted to always avoid is being a burden to anyone. Don't feel sorry for me. Don't open the doors for me. And people with disabilities, you see it, you feel it. I mean, I remember times people saying, hey, can I tie your shoes? Let me get that door for you. Man, you can't do nothing for me. Let me figure it out myself. And when that type of
Mm,
attitude you live with for 50 years, you pass it on to your kids. My son is doing well, Division I football player, very independent, doing his thing. And so that's the testimony of my life, not how my disability affected me, but how you can go from disabilities to endless possibilities. How many people do we want to help? Leon, I always tell him I thank you, man, because you brought this to me when I didn't want a book. What I need a book
really?
for? This is my life.
he
What
didn't.
I don't. What do I need a book for? I can dunk the basketball. So what? I can hit home runs. So what? It's no different than if you walk into a room, 50 people gonna love you, 50 people gonna hate you. So my exploits and the things that I did in high school, homecoming king, being popular, I felt like that's what I needed to do to take the illumination off my arm. So I didn't want any
Mm.
unwanted attention from my arm. Yeah.
And
So
Ursula, go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. You
Let
good.
me just read a couple of these comments. Let's see. Diamond Ingredient said, "Thank you kindly, Bill. I sincerely appreciate your words. Although I am a diamond, you are God's jewel. And having a best friend, double O, for over 50 years is simply another rare blessing."
She spelled it right too. That's how you spell my name. She spelled it right.
Really? Do you know who this is?
No, diamond ingredients. No.
That's a beautiful thing to
Yeah,
say.
that
It
is.
Wow.
is, Diamond.
Diamond, Ursula, you're such a wonderful bloom flower. Watching you all has definitely brightened my evening. Thank you, Diamond Ingredients. You made our evening. You're your kind words. That
And
is
you
so
know,
nice.
Ursula, you asked me how long did his mom go, right? So here's another story.
Yeah.
She went into the hospital for a checkup, and they had started preparing her for delivery. She's like, "I'm only 6 months," so she was huge. They thought she was full term. Yep, at 6 months, because he kept crawling around inside of her, flipping, flipping, flipping. And then the last time for her, when it was time to deliver him, he didn't flip back around, so his feet were down. But yeah, she was 6 months, and they thought she was full term. And they knew then. They said this is gonna be this is gonna be a tough delivery. They knew at 6 months he was gonna be tough.
Wow.
They didn't know that they were gonna break his shoulder and fold him over, and then she would be paralyzed. But yeah, and so another quick thing, I have a picture in the book that's drawn about him, right? This artist drew a picture of him. I told the guy, I said, look, this is my buddy, draw this picture about drawing batting, left hand. So if you see him, you like, oh, he's left-handed, right? Left-handed, obviously. So the dude sent the picture back, him batting right-handed. I said, man, you had this for 2 weeks and you drew the picture wrong. So I said, hold on. I said, Bill, man, I'm gonna ask you a stupid question. I know you batted left-handed. He's like, nah, dude, I batted right-handed. I said, what?
What?
So Ursula, as a kid, he was slugging the ball. I bat this way. He was slugging left-handed and knocking the ball out the park as a little 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid. Yeah, I didn't even know that. So the
And you want to
artist
know
drew
why, Ursula? You want
Why?
to know why?
I want to know
And
how.
it,
how, right?
and
Thank
it's
you.
and it's so authentic to the story. I batted the wrong way because I should have batted left-handed because I wanted to be like everybody else. So I was willing to bat unorthodox, strike out, not do as well because all I wanted to do was look like everybody else. And that ended up the way I
Oh,
batted forever.
But
Yeah.
Ursula,
wow.
he took his team to 2 championships. And check this out, it gets crazier. They put him in the outfield, and kids are like, we got two of his best friends in the book. They're like, man, they gonna put this dude in the outfield. I know I'm making the team because he ain't making the team. They would bat to him in the outfield, and he would catch the ball. I seen him do this. He catch the ball, and he would rip it off with his mouth, and the ball, and then he'd throw it, or he'd catch the ball and grab it with this right arm in the right here, grab the glove, and have the ball in his left hand, and he was throwing people out. I seen it with my own eyes. People would,
You are
yeah,
superhuman. That is wild. Hold on. One question. Do you know who a Dean Solomon is?
yeah. That's the guy that's doing was working with us on his Bill's logos and stuff. He's got some other stuff he's working on besides the book. Yeah, Solomon.
Because
Yeah.
they're in the backstage right now. And Shannon Gomes.
Oh, so I sent them the link. Just I messed up because they want to come in and hear the story. So I was sending them the link, but I forgot it takes them to the stage. I keep screwing that up. Yeah. So they want to get in. They want to see this. So they probably didn't get the post I did to go to Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together.
You know what? That's fine. I will drop the link. Excuse me. I'll drop
Okay.
the link. So Solomon and Sharon, if you can hear me, go to YouTube and then put Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together and it'll come up. And I'll drop the link as well. That's okay.
Yeah,
I
they be.
wonder, I'm like, what's going on? But it makes sense
They
now.
they text me while I'm talking. I'm like, I just sent them the link, but they can't get in through StreamYard, so that's my fault.
Right.
But yeah, he would catch the ball, left hand, snatch the glove off, and the ball would be in his hand, or he'd drop and He throwing it. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Nobody else was doing that, Ursula. Nobody.
That's crazy.
No. Everybody else in the league we played in was about maybe, what, Bill, 150 kids? He was the only one doing that. He was the only one slugging backwards and catching the ball with one hand and dropping his glove, snatching out and throwing people out.
You know who you remind me of, Bill? Bill is
Who's
a
that?
hybrid of Bo Jackson,
Yeah.
Deion Sanders, and
Before
catching the
them.
ball with one hand like Odell Beckham. Remember when everyone was catching
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
football with one
Yeah.
hand? Wow, that is amazing.
But you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? You made that comparison, and obviously they have two lambs. I absolutely, throughout this process, love to see the athletes who really want to compete and they have disabilities like me, because that was taboo back then. So part of the book, we mentioned about Jim Abbott, who didn't have a hand. He made it all the way to the Yankees. There's a guy named Emmanuel who doesn't have his arm. There's a guy named Shaquem Griffin. There's a guy named Inky Johnson. I could go on and on and on. So although I may not have inspired them directly, boy, it gives me such great pleasure to know I inspired somebody that inspired somebody that inspired somebody to make them want to try out for the team. No one was doing this, like he said. Leon did archives in 120-year history of our high school and probably a lot of other high schools. There was never, ever another three-sport athlete like myself. So again, I deflect from all of that. It didn't matter then because I didn't know no better. But think about some of these people that you see with disabilities that's not in the Special Olympics that think they can, right? If I can, you can. That's the power and the magic of my story that has translated and matriculated into 2024. How many little kids now, better yet, how many parents that have a kid that may have a disability, that when that kid comes to them and say, Mama, I want to go out for the team, the mama don't automatically say, no, baby, you look different. You can't. The mama says, let me go buy your bat. Let me go buy your glove, because I seen a kid named Bill Aden or Leon Walker write a book about if I can, you can. That's the magic of what we doing out here.
Wow, that is so inspiring.
Ursula, you know something else about him? I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
He and I talk, right? And this is for the kids. He mentioned in an interview, and I was like, God, dog. He was a special needs kid, right? Special needs. And so you have kids out here with bad skin, obese, special needs, missing an eye, arm, leg. But in all of that, he was still homecoming king. He was the king of the school. So with these special needs kids, don't give up. You can be a Bill Aden too. Because I wanted to be him. Only I could tackle like him, I could run, I could play baseball, basketball, but I couldn't play quarterback. He played quarterback. So it's all kind of stuff with this dude. Yeah.
And I had the prettiest girls in school too, Ursa. Can't leave that out.
What?
Right.
So wait, now I'm putting all this in perspective. So if you're 6'5" and you're playing quarterback, because that for a quarterback, that's pretty tall, right?
Yeah, very tall.
That was not really unheard of in East Cleveland, because we had a guy who was taller than me, John Talley, and then Dwayne Shields, rest in peace. So you had a few big quarterbacks, but definitely not ones that had one hand.
So you were like Steve McNair or something.
So true story, he was in Alcorn. One of my best friends went to Alcorn. I came down to visit. That was the first person that I saw throw a touchdown over 30 was Steve McNair at Alcorn State. Yep.
When I say I am a huge Steve McNair fan,
yeah,
huge. He was a beast, I should say.
He was.
Yeah.
Absolute beast. Oh, it hurt my soul what happened to him. I remember where I was. It was July 4th when anyway. Yeah, you seem like if you're like that, or like I'm trying to think of some current day quarterbacks. But going back to what you said about the parents not letting the kids do anything. So I used to be in a dental field, and we would have patients come in, and I would see how some of the parents would coddle their kids and literally stunt their growth,
Yeah,
because when the parent would go to the waiting room, the child act totally different. They became a lot more independent. They weren't
yeah.
whining. You know, there's like they regress when the parent came back in the room or back in the exam area. So you know, kudos to your mom doing the opposite or having her shit. Your mom was a Black woman that got her shift together. And she's like, here you go. I love that. I love
She
it.
gets all the credit, but if there is an asterisk in there, which is compelling and inspiring to families, she didn't have no choice. She couldn't deny me. She couldn't sit me down if she tried, because I had something to prove to myself and I wanted to be accepted. And any real parent will allow their kids to not be caged. I'm not saying the ones that are off the hook and on drugs and disrespectful. I'm saying that that fat kid or that short kid that says, Mom, I want to try out for the team. How dare you as a parent to, like you just said, stunt your growth? And I didn't have to worry about that. I had to worry about my mom saying, if you don't take your asthma medicine, you're not playing. If you don't do your homework, you're not playing. If you don't clean up your room. But as far as wanting me to get out there and spread my wings and be me and overcome obstacles, my mom was my biggest fan.
That's
My
so
sisters and
good.
brothers would tell you my mom was my biggest. At her funeral, the only thing I could think of was bring her 50-year-old sweatshirt with Wild Bill on it. And that's what I showed, like show and tell at her funeral. I can't make this up.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So
Hey, you know
you
what, Ursula?
what? Uh-huh.
We don't want to give you too much about the book, but we've gone there. But Bill, he also won 2 state art awards. He can draw too. In the 7th and 8th grade, he won art awards for drawing. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You are so gifted. It's like God just molded you how he wanted, and you have so many gifts that you're what is that? Multi hyphenated.
Right. And my
So
son is the same. My son is the
is
same
he?
way. He may be listening, he may not. But here's what's scary. My mom's water broke, and she came and told my dad. And this is in the book. My dad freaked out. They had to rush to the hospital because he was saying, baby, don't have the baby. Well, fast forward 37 years, I'm in Columbus. I'm eating pizza. I got my family with me. And my son's mom comes out the bathroom, jeans all soaked. She like, Bill, my water broke. I can't make this up. We had to rush to the hospital, and we almost went through the same type of. She had to get stitched up because he was a preemie. We had to stay in the hospital for 7 days until his lungs got developed. So the same drama and trauma that I went through, my son went through the same exact thing. I can't make this up. Yeah.
Wow. Are you kidding? How much did he weigh?
Well, he weighed 5.6 pounds because, again, he was a preemie, but
Right.
he's 290 pounds now.
6'2".
Damn.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? How tall is he?
He didn't get my height, but his neck is like a Rottweiler. His back is like 2 Cadillacs put together, just all muscle. He's about 6'2", 290, plays defensive tackle down at Pitt. So very excited.
Are
Yeah.
your siblings athletic as well? Or is that just you just gifted?
It was kind of me. See, you got to remember back then, we just narrowly escaped the civil rights era back then, and we
Right.
were pre-crack. Like East Cleveland right now is probably one of the top 5 poorest cities in the nation. And so back then, when you had a family and kids, you really couldn't leave the street. You really couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, I kind of broke the chains, and my mom just said, I can't hold this boy back. But my brother was a big time chess player. My other brother was into lifting weights, and my 2 sisters were in the who's who. smart as heck. So, yeah, they didn't really get the
Wow.
athletic piece because of our community really didn't allow you to venture out, and a single mom just kind of worried too much about us. I was the only one that got to do my thing.
Wow. So, okay, so you played multi sports. Which one was your favorite sport? Because you excelled at all of them. So, but which one you preferred to play the best?
So if you go in a restaurant and you hungry and you ask the owner what's good, what are they gonna tell you? Everything.
Everything.
So and I used to say it all the time when football season came around. Football was my favorite sport. As soon as it ended, basketball was my favorite sport. And I think in life you have to have that same mentality. When you start pigeonholing yourself, when you start putting favorites and labels on this and that. Obviously, when
Mhm.
we get older, we know we shouldn't be eating sugars and things like that. But to all of the 18-year-olds, the 19-year-olds, the 20-year-olds, or younger, be adventurous. Go out and try everything because you never know what's going to stick.
Exactly. So, Leon, let me ask you this. Watching Bill play all these sports, which one do you think he excelled the most at?
It's because I've seen it all.
Yeah.
Well, so it's crazy. Well, you know what? You know what? Football, because football, he started linebacker, he started as safety, he played kicker, all right, and he played what is linebacker and quarterback.
Quarterback.
So so linebacker, safety, kicker, quarterback. What's that?
Crazy.
Four. Yeah.
So
So
if you play the safety, that means you're fast too.
yeah, he was
I
big. So
was. I'm old
not
now.
yeah. So I was 2 years ahead of him. But when we played little league football, we were like a poor team. But the man that owned the team was a rich guy. So we had great equipment and we ate good and we had the best banquet. But we played the toughest teams in Cleveland, in East Cleveland, because they had already had their favorite team. So I'm like, man, we got to go play this team called Eagles Nest. And those kids like 8 years old with gunshot wounds and broken teeth and one eyeball and stuff. Yeah, I'm telling you, we go down there playing those kids. They got snot coming out their nose. They already crying. And they like, we not only did we lose the game, but we lost players. The kids were running from the field, hopping in the bus and stuff. They didn't want to play. And Bill out there like, look, he was, I never forget this, Ursula. He was calling plays in the huddle as like a 12-year-old kid. I'm telling you, he was a coach and a leader and a visionary. I'm telling you, people can't take these stories away from me. He would
Wow.
call plays in the huddle, and then we were struggling because we weren't good, and these kids were dominating us. They were mean, they were tough. We didn't have many tough kids. We just was showing up. But when you see him play, it's like, oh, well, if he ain't scared, then I can't be scared. Although I was scared too. But watching him tackle people, it looked fun. So he would hurt kids, not on purpose, but his arm. People didn't know his arm was so strong. He could snatch a kid just like Bam Bam, right? Throwing kids around. And so I remember these things. And then we played street football. We started off playing street football because we didn't have an organized team. But guess what? He played in street football, quarterback. I'm like, this,
Wow.
yeah. And he told me, double O. He was calling plays. Hey, you do a down and out. I'm like, what the hell is a down and out? Hey, he goes, hey Drew, you do a button hook. Hey Muff, you do a fly. And I'm looking at him like, what the hell? He's like 20 years old calling plays. But we always watched football, and Terry Bradshaw was one of his favorite plays. So when you played with him, you had to be tough. You had to know what's going on, and you can't like it wasn't no quitting. So if he wasn't gonna quit, I wasn't gonna quit. That was my motivation for him from him.
So you've been inspiring people, and you probably never even realized it as a youngster. You have no idea. That's some good stuff. What about let's talk about your mental health through all of this. As a child, I mean, obviously you had this drive and you still did going into adulthood, but aside from that drive, how was your mental health, emotional health through all of this?
So obviously, when you're a kid, you have no clue what mental health is.
Right.
You know when they picked on me, my feelings was hurt. Happiness. Those type of intangibles. But as I reflect back on it again, there was a lot of dark nights in the bedroom crying by myself. Why me? And at some point in time, the lights had to turn on for me, and I had to turn it on for myself.
What made you
Once I
want
got
to turn it on though? Like what was that shift?
well, I think anybody, right? Let's just take it off of Bill, and let's just talk about what happens to every single individual. If
Mhm.
you pee pee in your diaper or
Mhm.
poop in your diaper, you got one or two choices. And naturally, you're going to start whining because you know how you feel when somebody comes and gets you out of that pee pee diaper.
Right.
And so that lesson should transcend to a lot of us, but it doesn't. We get stuck as a teenager because we don't look right, or we get stuck in our job and we
Mm.
forget the very fundamental things. Something as simple as let me get up out of this diaper, whether it's ask for help or when you get old enough, you sit down, you scoot it off. But if we would just apply the simple principles of feeling better, looking better, doing better, this whole mental health thing, I'm not going to say it's going to go away, but a lot of that starts within intestinal fortitude. How can I
Yeah.
get this off of me? How can I get this weight up off of me? So I'm not saying that it wasn't easy. I'm saying what's easy to do is easy not to do. And as long as I took that type of attitude throughout life, man, it's really just easy. What makes it hard is when you don't do it. People think college is hard. College is easy because nobody, I'm saying it wrong. The only reason college is hard is because nobody's sitting there waking you up. Nobody's telling you you have to go to class. Nobody's
Right.
telling you you have to study. So it's the easy things that we can do that we don't do, which actually makes a lot of things harder.
Mm. Why is this story has not been on ESPN or Sports Center is beyond me. I cannot wait for this book to get out because I am definitely going to get it. Has to be signed though. I'm just saying, like
We
for real,
got
for
I
you,
got
real.
you.
Ursa. Yeah, definitely.
So
Bill and I.
some of the things that we have cooking, I don't want to get ahead of my skis, but I used to do the LeBron James bike-a-thon back in the day. I did it for 3 years. I met Gloria. We are having some talks preliminarily to get the book into the I Promise School. We are working with an all Black publisher who has access to 400 school districts nationwide. I'm already set up to do storytellings to my own backyard, East Cleveland and Shaw High School. A good friend of mine, I got it right here. I can't make this up, y'all. Mookie Betts. This is in my house. He is a National League All Star. He plays with the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's a signature jersey that's right here in my house. Our guest speaker that's coming to speak, Mr. Marshall Henderson, his family actually is part of the management team. Their platform is HBO and just some unlimited stuff that they're
Yeah,
looking to bring on. The Pursuit of Happiness author, Chris Gardner, who made the movie with Will Smith. I met him
yeah.
in 2014 in New Orleans, and I'm only a phone call away from a higher platform. So, yes, your premonition that this should be ESPN, but we're thinking so much bigger. We're thinking worldwide. We're thinking if it's impactful, which we know it is, if it can help every genre of the family. It can help a kid that's born with disabilities.
Yep.
It can help a child on ADD. It can help kids on spectrum. It can help the parent who's a special need to them. Obviously, it can help the 6-year-old who's now starting to move around and really don't know what he want to do. It can help the athlete. It can help the teenager. It can help corporate America. It can even help the people that frown at folks with disabilities when all you really have to do is give them a chance. So we're excited that we're touching every
Wow.
single corner, every single individual. And the reality is we're not out here trying to sell books. We're out here trying to help people to understand that what you have between your ears is just as powerful as what's between your lips. A lot of people
Mm.
overtalk things. A lot of people don't say the things that they should. Les Brown, and I got to get this quote down. He talked about the richest place in the world is the graveyard because so many dreams and aspirations never get told. So many songs never get
Wow.
sung. So many ideals never, because we take them to our grave. We have to change that mentality. We have to get out here, start taking chances, becoming who we want to do, and start thinking, having the capacity that if I can, you can, and vice versa.
Absolutely. Oh my God. You know, I was thinking about this. There was this nurse, and I want to say it was in Australia or somewhere, but she worked in a hospice and she decided to write a book as well. And she interviewed her patients. And she said that there was a common thread, and it was like a list of 10 that was a common thread of what the patients who knew that they were going to transition, they were leaving this earth. And one of the main things they said is that they wish that they could have done X. You fill in the blank. And they said that they knew that they were going to pass away soon, and that it was heavy that they had that regret of not pursuing X.
You know, some Ursula, and I'm
Yeah.
glad you said that. When Bill and I, we spent two separate times, a total of 9 hours editing the book. 9 hours.
Mm.
But what he found out is that he can edit a book. And I said, bro, you can, because we were editing a book that had been edited by a 30-year editor, and we found 138 mistakes. Okay.
Are you kidding me?
No, he found probably like 98. And I'm like, dude, how the hell you find that? Because I couldn't see no more. We sitting here, we hungry. Look, Ursula, we hungry, we tired. We had these computers in the library. You know, you can't make noise in the library, so we laughing, and the older guy, he like, hey, you know, I'm like, man, shut the hell up. But he yeah. And what you just said, I said, Bill, you can be an editor, bro. He like, what? And we going through this book. He like, yo, look at this, look at this, look at this. I'm like, I didn't see it. So he can edit. So he found another gift by editing his own book. And this is another thing, yeah. I said,
What
bro,
can
so
he do? He's
right?
like a bionic man. Just
Yeah.
can do
We talked about that in the book
anything.
too. Yeah. So we
Oh.
called the publishing company that we're gonna work with, and that guy was like, well, maybe I'll hire Bill as my editor. Yeah. he said that. And the crazy part about this, what I'm getting to, is that although we talk about his sports and stuff like that, and his kids hear about sports, but in elementary school, Bill was an honor roll student.
Damn.
Sure was.
But I used to get all the other kids in trouble.
Right. Yeah. Making them do crazy
Wow.
stuff. Yeah, but so yeah, he can. I said, bro, you can be an editor, because I was blown away. And he was editing a 30-year editor. And yeah, so when we get the books out, stuff like that, I'm gonna help him get his. And if people say, well, you need to be editing for 10 years. No, you don't. You don't even need a grammar degree, an English degree. You just have to be focused, driven, and passionate about what's in front of you, how you can make this book better, and how
Mm.
and so he'll be, you know, we're gonna redo his business cards because he can edit books too.
That's amazing. I mean, I am so impressed with you. I knew, like, Leon kept talking about the book, but now that I'm talking to both of you and listening to, look, all I saw was the picture from the press release, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't wait to talk. But I had no idea I was going to listen to all of this. Leon didn't give
Yeah.
me any insight. He did tell me how great it was. Or, you know how he talks. Okay, Ursula, I'm telling you, book is good. The book is good. But now that I'm listening, I am so impressed, and I'm honored that you are on my podcast, because
Yeah, I had to get him on you. I had to, because I told him, I said, man, she easy to talk to. She's fun. Because every interview we've had, I think this might be number 6 or so. It's gonna be more. They've been good. The thing about Bill, I didn't have to prepare him for anything, because he can speak. He's not nervous. He knows the story. Yeah. So he's an easy story, easy situation.
well, I knew it was going to be good behind the scenes before I pressed live, and he made that joke, and I said, okay, this is what we doing tonight. All right, I'm already a fan. I already knew it was going to be good. So
You make it easy. Leon makes it easy. The things that he did to get the story to where it is now from 2017, that's where we come from. If my mama like you, I love you. And it's more than just a brotherhood. It's more than just a friendship. he can dump on me all his issues and stuff, and I can come to him about things. My son, he's hired to help put together the documentary. I would trust my son with him any day. And what he doesn't realize, and I know he stepped away, he said that I inspired him and did some things to become a number one this and number one that. What he's not telling you, he was the number one sailor in the Navy for like 5 or 6 years. He was part
Really?
of, yeah, he was part of leadership. So whoever he wants to pluck and take credit from, whether he saw greatness in me at an early age or not, something was instilled in him to become the best and overcome the narcissism and all the things and child abuse and
Right.
things that he went through to still be at one of the most respected industries, the armed services, and be a leader and go through and retire after 32 years. A lot of people don't do that. You know how many people get into the service and quit after 4 years?
Quick.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
you know, he didn't hear all of it, but kudos to him. We feed off of each other,
I
and we
could
were put on
tell.
this earth. We're now in purpose. We've pivoted. You know, we've had women, we've had cars, we've enjoyed life, we've traveled, but now when you can really reach back and pivot and make someone smile, which is what you've been doing, Ursula, for the last whole hour, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
I have a question for you. Aside from yourself, who inspires you?
So part of the book, and that's a great question. Although there's a lot of people, I extrapolate a lot from a lot of people. When Leon asked me this, I came up with the four horsemen or Mount Rushmore. And I don't want to give away too much of it, but absolutely my father being who he was. Absolutely any type of coach. We talked about Mr. Swoop. We talked about my granddad who's in there who taught me how to cut hair and barbecue. And although he wasn't in my life every single day, as much as the other man, he inspired me because he and I could always talk. And that's important to a young man coming up. If you can have a sounding board and someone doesn't judge you, right? The Bible
Yes.
talks about that. Who am I to judge? Those are the people that I resonate with. Those are the people that come into your inner circle and you don't judge, even if they're wrong. At that point in time, you give them their 60 seconds. You allow it. So there's a lot of people that inspire me, and they don't necessarily have to have a beer with me. They don't necessarily have to play ball with me. They don't necessarily have to like the things I like. They can be truly individuals that you can look them in the eye and you know that there's substance, you know there's a skeleton, you know there's a backbone, and you know they mean something. Integrity. If I dropped $100, would you take it? Would you say you only found 50 of it? Those are all types of people as we get into this part of our lives because we have less days ahead of us than we do behind us. So hopefully that answers your
Absolutely.
question.
It does. That's some good stuff. What would you tell any person who I don't even really want to say has disabilities, but someone who just they're feeling down, discouraged. They don't know how to get that spark in them to just get up and
I,
go.
I personally think, and I don't want to offend any non-believers,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't change your mind with the same mind. You have help. I don't care if it's praying. I don't care if it's, I personally feel there should be someone older than you or with degrees or wiser or as a subject matter expert that should speak into your life. And then
Okay.
I think you should speak into somebody else's life. That's what we call balance. That's what the world and everything is centered on. So whether you have that as an infrastructure or not, go seek that. Go seek to talk to somebody that you know knows a little bit more about you and let them pour into you. And
Mm-hmm.
then for balance, you pour into someone else. But the reality is, if you're a lazy person, there is no videos out there. There is no magic dust that's going to automatically change you from being lazy. You have to get up off the couch and then you have to partner with someone that's doing it every single day. Do we have anomalies of people that, yes, can go in a room and lose 100 pounds and come out? Double O knows a guy that was in the Navy that's blew up, a multimillionaire. Those are the anomalies. But for the normal Joe Blow You have to plug into a system, and that system can be family, that system can be friend, but it shouldn't be
Mhm.
foe.
I love that. I will say this. I knew once we finished, I was gonna just chill out for the rest of the evening. I do have a list right here that on my phone that I know I need to it's a to-do list. But I was gonna go and just chill out and just do nothing. No, sir, not after listening to you two. I
Hey,
cannot.
Ursula, look.
I just don't feel like just vegging out because while I'm listening to both of you talking, I feel like this volcano is just going, just dripping down my spine. And I'm feeling so inspired because there's something that I have a deadline that I need to do. I am going to continue it tonight. I
Ursula,
mean,
let me tell you this.
what?
He look. I knew. I said okay because he didn't want the book. I would send him like chapters years ago. He like, oh man. I said okay. So it just kept. I just kept creeping up on him, creeping up on him, and then when we got started, he like, man, why you up so you up so late writing on that doggone book? I'm like, yep. Then I would send him a chapter, and he would, man, I got this going on, and he would make fun of me being up 2, 3 in the morning. Now he's up 3 o'clock in the morning sending me emails. Hey man, I just sent you email. You gonna check it? No, you gonna respond, bro? Hey man, we got this going on. Hey man, we got this going on. I'm like, oh, last year you made fun of me.
Right. He we were in the library, true story. Let's just say 3 months ago doing the edits. And although we're doing them together, I know his passion. He drove 7 hours up to Cleveland just to spend time to get me going. And I'm
Oh,
looking over, I'm in the library. He sleeps sitting up in the library.
Gone, gone.
Now,
really?
I got one or two choices. I can let his lethargism, being tired, and say, man, I'm tired too. Let's go eat. I said, man, get your rest. And every time he opened his eye, I was right over there doing edits because he has inspired me now that it's
Wow.
in me. And now I'm taking off and running at it. And I think in life, we all should have that one person or um, that entity, teachers, firefighters, first responders, whatever that may be. You should have something that moves you to the point you're
Hmm.
so tired, you're still moving.
Yep.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. I will tell you right now, if you ever want to come back on my podcast, you have my phone number. Please let me know. I mean, it will be done. I know you through Leon. Leon's good people. I mean, when I asked him, because I'll reach out every couple months, hey, you want to come on? You want to come on? He said yes. He's like, hey, I have a book. I have a friend. Let's get him scheduled. Okay.
Yep.
Now, no brainer. If you ever want to come back on, like I want to see this blow up because this is an amazing story. It's a truly amazing. What can't you do? That's the question. No, for
Can't,
real.
can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Oh my god. So okay, let's talk about some upcoming events or what's going on with you all. Let's talk about that.
Double O, you
So
tell it.
the first event is July 24th. We are and this is another thing about him, Ursula. When he started taking off, I'm like, man, you get all kinds of stuff going on. We're doing a book, so he's gonna take some excerpts from his book, and I gotta send him those. So we're doing a book reading. It's gonna be at the East Cleveland Library, where reading is your journey. That's what they call it. Reading is your adventure, I think. But we got 40 kids, I think ages 9 to 13, Bill, something like that. 40 kids that he's gonna be telling his story to. We're gonna feed them lunch. We're gonna talk about their life. We're gonna talk about how his life. We're gonna inspire them. They're gonna inspire us. We're gonna feed them. They're gonna be on their way. So that's July 24th. In the evening, I believe, or no, I don't know what the time is, but July 24th, we're going to be posting flyers for all these events that he's doing all around Cleveland.
Can you
Um,
real quick when you get the dates and everything or the times, can you send me that cuz I want to post it and put it in the show description notes.
okay,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
July 28th will be in a location called League Park, where the Cleveland Indians used to play, or is it the Browns? The Cleveland Indians used to play years ago, and it's in the hood now, but they're bringing it back and rehabbing. It looks nice. So we'll be there with the table. We might have books by then with the table, selling books and helping people out, and getting him speaking gigs, hopefully, things like that. So that's July
And they
28th.
asked me to throw out the first pitch. I cannot believe it.
Yeah. So he got right. So this is in Lee Park.
Really?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
on the 31st, we're doing a rooftop lunch and dinner type of thing, book giveaway, gift giveaway. We're gonna be serving food at his apartment on the penthouse floor, inside, outside. We're gonna be talking about the book and where it is. It's August 2nd, the book release party at Connect Lounge. So we'll be doing that live
I'm sad.
July 31st. Book giveaways as well. So we'll be doing a lot of that. August 2nd is the actual book giveaway. I mean, the book release party at Connect Lounge. But the morning of August 2nd, he has a news interview before the actual book giveaway. So he's doing that with one of the top news stations in Cleveland. August 3rd, we'll be back together again. Well, we'll be together every day that week. August 3rd, we're doing another back to school backpack giveaway, haircut giveaway. We're serving hot dogs, pizza, ice cream cones, snow cones, and doing some more giveaways at August 3rd at the backpack giveaway, backpack haircut back to school event with our Shaw High School alumni. So we got a lot going on.
And guess what I'll be doing? Guess what I'll be doing August 4th?
What?
Sleep.
Right.
I'm sad. If I lived in the same state, I would just probably invite myself to come to any of these events. But I'm just
we're gonna be posting about it. We'll send you all the event stuff too, Ursula. You can post whatever, but it'll be flyers for everything, you know.
Yeah, so, please send it to me. And
we have like our PR lady Nancy Manning has been helping us out doing the flyers, ordering stuff, creating stuff, the banners. Bill's got some very, very nice banners. Matter of fact, Bill, the lights came in today. I'll tell you about that. But he's got some nice banners for his book. They look good, the kind that you pop up and stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so, those pop up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a 3-person team. We've been doing a lot. It's been a lot, Ursula. It's been a lot, but it's good stuff too.
It's a labor of love. We want to sell this book out. So, Bill, how can we do this? We're gonna put your email in the show description, and you let me know how y'all want me to. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. So with his I'll mention a little bit about it, Ursula. Okay. You have his Cash App. We're waiting on the link from the publishing company. That could come July, I don't know. So that'll be the link of where they can publish the book at. But his pre-sales will be going on the whole time, today, tomorrow, up until then. So if anybody wants to do a pre-sale for Bill Aden's book, the book is $25. It's a great book. I think you have to post it here or whatever, the Cash App. And so when they do post the Cash App, we need their email or mailing address. If they don't post it here, post the email so we can contact them and get their mailing address, and we can get the books out. The books will be going out the end of July, first week of August. It depends on when we get them. So if we get them soon, within the next 2 weeks, because they still got to be printed, those people that sent the Cash App to Bill's Cash App, they'll be signed and mailed out to them.
What is the email address?
William, WILLIAM, T as in tall, and Aden, which is Apple, David, Edward, Nancy, ADEN, S as in Sam, R as in Richard at yahoo.com.
William T. Aden Sr. at yahoo.com. So when they email him, email their address, and then when his Cash App is capital WTAS small r, $, capital WTS, capital $, capital WTAS small r.
Okay.
WTASR.
ASR, small r. But when they get to the third letter, it'll pop up.
Got it. So I just posted the email address, and you all can see it on the screen. So, and I'll When I edit this, I'll put it in the show description notes. So, any closing words from either one of you?
Everybody has a story, and I think everybody should write a book. I know we talk about Bill didn't want it in the beginning; he was fighting back and forth. But when you actually sit down and think about a person's life, everybody has a story. Everybody can write a book. Everybody can create some. So off of this book alone, Bill and I have other initiatives that we're doing with his fraternity, his brothers and stuff. And so once you get one idea, there's another idea, there's another idea.
Yeah.
And it's not, we're all, me and Bill, when he say, hey man, we got to speak at the library. The first thing we ask the people that are the directors of the library is like, hey, how many kids and how can we feed them? How long do we have with them? Well, you got an hour, Mr. Walker, and so we'll feed. You can't feed them, but also, can we get them some hot dogs on their way out? They get on the bus. So we're always, like he said earlier, it ain't about selling books. That's gonna happen, but we want to know, hey, how can we enhance what you got going on right now?
Exactly, the impact. That's what it is, and leveraging. That's some good stuff. Bill, anything you want to end with?
Yeah, I want to leave folks with something poignant. It's a poem that I learned. It's called The Test of a Man. And it's so similar to the title of the book. When you talk about courage and you talk about struggles, and it goes, the test of a man is the fight that he makes, the grit that he daily shows, the way that he stands upon his feet and takes life numerous bumps and blows. A coward can smile, there's nothing to fear, nothing his progress bars, but it takes a man to stand and cheer while the other fellow stars. It isn't the victory after all, but the fight that a brother makes. A man, when driven against the wall, still stands erect and takes the blows of fate. With his head held high, bleeding, bruised, and pale, is the man who will win, for he was not afraid to fail. And I think that just ties into life, conviction, and it starts with you. Stop looking for a handout from somebody else. Stop looking for an excuse. It starts with you. And if you think you can, you can. If I can, you can.
You know what?
Yeah.
I can't follow up anything else with that. My God. Wow, this was amazing. Thank you all so much for coming on. I hope anyone listening, if you are in the chat, drop a 1. If you were inspired just as I have been. I love this topic because July is Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. This is what it looks like. This is exactly what it looks like right here. Yep. It really does. So speaking of Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, I want you all to tune in. As you all know, most days this week I am posting different things about minority mental health awareness. We have Motivation Monday, Toxic Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday, Thriving Thursday, and Freedom Friday. So tune in tomorrow. I have a Freedom Friday for everyone. And make sure you contact Bill. Let's run these numbers up on this book. If you don't want it, that's fine. Buy it for somebody who else you know. You got at least 5 friends that's going to want to hear it. If you want some kind of motivation and inspiration, just like as I felt, go ahead and purchase the book. So, yeah, I'm feeling very motivated. I mean, I was looking at the pillow while we were talking. I was like, yeah, I'm going to just lay down. I got work to do right over there. So I'm good. So yeah, this was great. Many blessings to you, Bill. Leon, thank you for introducing me to him. This is amazing. Yeah. And oh, Bill, guess what?
What?
You are a Black man that got his shift together.
All right. I received that.
For the queen, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and Buddha walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kissed God is heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti. Black girl magic, melanin popping. Whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together.